look at a video as well. Got an ice maker which I got to fix. This is a bit of calibration. I got this from a local did a job for a guy, and he just bought it for next to nothing. This does need a bit of calibration. I've got to get the ice right. It's not quite there on half the blocks of ice. It's supposed to look more like that. That sort of block right there is what it's supposed to look like. That block there is exactly what the ice cube is supposed to look like. It's a lot of nothing to do with how cold it's getting. Basically, after as they're spraying, half the cups start catching all the ice and half the where it's freezing the water. There's a thing on the insulation, a plastic plate here. It pops off. I have to fix that. Not bad machines, these Scotsmans, but the earlier ones were kind of like the earlier ones about 15 years ago. I like this machine, but they were all metal. Simpler in design, but Scotsman's changed this ugly sort of bin-shaped design, and they tend to, if you don't look after it, will be rough with the plastic parts and will break. So it's a little baby one. This one's serviced and imported into Australia by Moffat. But the place it came from just got a new one. One of the bigger ones, so instead of trying to get this one fixed, I just got a bigger one for the main kitchen. They had one of the main kitchen that was there, replaced this one with a bigger version of this one, which is a AC or 80, something like that. So about that wide anyway, from there to there wide. A bigger machine anyway, because this didn't quite cut it for where it was too small anyway. But you can see here, to get the top off under these nuts, is when you clean it. I've ran the ice machine cleaner through this and put a good water filter on it, which you need for something like this. Italian made, because all the best machines are made in Italy. Italians are very good pioneers in refrigeration. The Chinese are the complete opposite. So basically this plastic, there's like a thing here where it would have stuck on, but that just flops down and it hits on here and it stops it from opening up. Basically under here, whoops, put that back in there. There's a little freezer. Our evaporator. Your water gets sprayed in these cups. So basically half these cups here aren't seeing quite enough water filling up completely the way that spray arms are. So these rows here are getting good ice. This front row, they don't fill up with water completely. Hence we haven't got a complete full cube. They're kind of like that, half done with the water spraying. They're half, well, yeah, not quite there. This front row here anyway. With some machines, water sprays directly inside these cups. This right here, this particular machine, the water doesn't quite go right into the cups. It's just how this Scotsman's designed and laid out. So I've got the thermostats on this machine maxed out, the biggest possible cubes you can get. You can get, they can look a little ugly and over frozen, but eh. See this bit here where it was stuck, that used to be stuck down here, but the glue's all come off. I'm going to have to fix that so it doesn't hit the door when I open it. Better way of explaining it, this particular machine here is based on the Bremer brand models from Comcator. Basically, this is a simpler version. Those nozzles in there shoot directly into the cups themselves. You can get good consistency like that. It's a simple method, but this Scotsman doesn't quite do that. There's another way it shoots, not quite into all the cups. It's just, they do it differently. When it's working properly, it actually does fill all the ice cubes up efficiently. But for some reason, this one doesn't do that. Now the complaint with it was low on gas. So I've pressure tested it and measured the pressures. It wasn't exactly low, but when it was on the low side, it was supposed to be minus 4 psig according to the manual for this. It was a little bit less than that, but not by much. So I put a little bit of a sniff of R134A in it. That's what this gas uses, by the way. Didn't take much, but I got the pressures right, and it wasn't all that low. Like, the complaint with it was that they condemned it because I thought it was leaking in the evaporator, but I looked at all the pipe work. I couldn't see any oil marks, nothing. Tecumseh and Braco built compressor, Brazilian made. There's two thermostats, mechanical old school thermostats, and a circuit board which actually is a timer circuit. And that controls the circuit board to tell you when to clean it. Some of these models are quite temperamental. They have like a blue light thing in the back and looks at the water and kills bacteria. It's all rank. Some models are Chinese made, not badly built overall, but they're just a bit more temperamental than these Italian built models. This is only a small unit anyway. This is going to get really cold and it'll turn the machine off. There it is, but sort of what the ice cubes are supposed to look like. They just look a little bit ugly. Like in a real world, you want your ice cubes looking more uniform and neat and consistent. Something like that first one right there, that first cube there, what they should be looking like. But I'll start off for the home. I don't care what the ice cubes look like, as long as they're thick and consistent, I'm happy. They just look a little ugly, half of them, who cares? A great machine for the home. Now some models of these and the Bremer machines will pump the water out and lift it into a sink drain. This one has to drain gravity feed, so it's going to be up high. This is actually a $3,500 machine, this. I know Veva make a Chinese version like this, of their version. So does Devanti, and they're like $1,500 from China. There was a couple of older Chinese ice machines I have seen. There's one I've worked on which actually has all Italian made compressor and everything in it. It's all Italian components, but it's a Chinese built machine. It's actually, for what it is, it's actually quite reliable. Circuit board's all in the back. These are standard off the shelf components. Nothing's proprietary to the machine. They are still available, but not in Australia much anymore. But it's working quite well. This buttons are supposed to light up, but the neons are burnt out. These buttons are available locally anyway at JCar, so that's alright. So basically you put your ice machine cleaner in there, you fill this top out with ice machine cleaner, run the clean, it turns the compressor off, and it just circulates the water for ages to clean it. Then you put it back into ice maker mode, let it make a couple of batches of ice which you throw away because the ice machine cleaner is quite stingy and sweet tasting. It's quite burning. You don't want to eat it anyway. It's not toxic, but it's just not something you want to be eating. A lot of, especially in the professional world and the restaurants world, it's important to sanitise these things. Especially in the off season, you don't use them, they get manky. This one you really can't set a spray arms, that's the spray nozzle there. And there's row of two there, and two there. But they don't all shoot directly in line with all the ice cubes. There's a bit of a trick how it distributes the water on this particular machine. You see there. Probably got to tweak it. As I said, I got both thermostats maxed out, which is not ideal, but I'm just doing it for testing purposes. So I'm going to fix this up before I put the cap back on. Get this sorted out. As you can see there, bit of mould, I'm going to clean all that and fix this up so it doesn't jam this every time I open and close it. But very handy to have these machines, especially the summer time's coming up. I mean, a domestic LG ice machine I got in the kitchen doing pretty well. But this is a great machine to have as a backup. And if you need ice in a pinch, that's the whole idea of it. Make an ice in a pinch, and it does it well. It's been on for about 36 hours. It's done that in 36 hours. If I had this inside, maybe in there, in a nice inside, it probably would have been a bit less, might have been a bit quicker. Well, it wasn't warm out here, but it's done pretty well for being sitting out here. It wasn't too cold overnight, but it was cool enough to make this thing turn off and not fill the bin up. If it was in there, it wouldn't have got as cold out in there, and it would have filled the bin up. But it's been well maintained. This foot has been cleaned. The condenser's nice and clean. So this is just hot gas defrost. Makes the ice, hot gas defrost, dumps it in the evaporator to defrost. As it does that, that water solenoid turns on, fills up its supply of reservoir again, and goes back and makes more ice, cools that water down again, starts again. Same hot gas solenoid concept using my old Pope fridge I re-gassed. As I was saying, this fridge uses that exact same principle that the ice machine does to defrost, which is really cool. I wish newer fridges had that concept. It's one of the most reliable, energy-saving defrosts you can possibly have. This has got a mechanical timer in there. Dumps hot gas inside the evaporator to defrost it for a little bit. And it continues, it just works just like the ice machine does. I really like that concept. Yeah, you don't get that in modern fridges anymore. Get a circuit board and air down it that burns up the power bill, and just stupid things, just more to go wrong and more expensive to run. I got some batteries. That was a free score. This is a mate's battery. Probably about sitting flat for about 6 years. It was completely dead. It's got about 300 cranking amps in it now. I've revived it. I've got a lot of supercharged batteries off here, but they all don't like. They're just not very good batteries. They drop cells left, right, and centre. I've recovered several batteries of his, but he's gets them all for nothing anyway. So do I got that for nothing as well. And that was about 12.3 volts, and I found it had about 10 cold cranking amps, and I've maintaining it on that to look after it. Also scored another old school charger, put a new handle on it. 998 model, this one. I've stripped it down, cleaned the little overload inside the bottom of it because it had no output. The overload auto reset contacts a bit dirty, so I fixed all that. 1224 volt to 10 amp. These old chargers are the best. That's a little bit older, Australian made. It's the old charger my old man had when I was a kid growing up. It's a transformer and a rectifier. And you got 6 volt 12 volt and an amp meter. This one, it's actually regulated. There's a regulator inside this one. A bit more advanced this one, but best style battery chargers are these. Of course, the modern equivalent are these Chinese ones. Projector make them like that in this as well. That brand Projector, they make nice old school chargers just like this one and this one, but of course Chinese stuff, and they're pretty overpriced. The retail more than what this sort of originally sold for back in the day. This model here is from 1998. I think this one's from probably about the late 80s, early 90s. They used to make all sorts of good stuff. Now they're dead Bunnings brand now. And this old boy here works alright, this old bad boy. I've cleaned the insert terminals of that, cleared all the contacts inside the insert in here. This one works quite well. I've got to cosmetically restore it though. Charge Master. Rectifier equipment. 50 cycles before Hertz was standardised, so it's kind of old. I'd say it's early 70s. But yeah, I got these two came from a yard, garage, farm clearance. Would have ended up in the bin, so I said, oh, I'll put an offer in. I got it for next to nothing. This switch was smashed. I was able to find all the pieces and rebuild it. And this works now. I put a new cable on it. This was much the same. This jumper was missing. I rebuilt that, made a new cable for it, cleaned the internals, cleaned the contacts and the thermal reset contacts, and then it works quite well. That's also a 6 and 12 volt charger. 6 volt 8 amps, 12 volt 6 amps. Yeah, old school. Anyway, that'll be enough for now. Thanks for watching. Anyway, the always like with this one here, this one does work, but it'll freeze up the evaporator, and it's supposed to freeze the evaporator to a certain degree. Once it harvests ice, it's then supposed to start the timer, and by the time that timer hits defrost, this is all full of ice and dumps the ice. What it's actually doing, it's freezing for so long that all the water in the bottom of this reservoir gets sucked dry, and this timer doesn't get notified that it wants to harvest the ice and start the timer. So I think it's the evap thermostat, which I've changed. Yeah, I've changed this, that's a bin thermostat. I've changed the evap thermostat, and that's the calibration issue. I did play around with it a little bit. It seemed to work a little bit for a little bit. You'll get a couple of harvests and it's alright, but okay, it's not starting to make ice. I come back overnight in the morning, and it'll freeze the whole thing up and it'll be sucked dry, cavitating the pump dry of water. And it wasn't actually triggering that timer, so it's a bit weird. Very strange. So I've replaced this thermostat because the original one, the contacts are buggered. Which is actually basic as you can get. This is pretty much based on the Bremer machine principle. You have a mechanical timer and 2 thermostats. You can turn the compressor off and just run the pumps. And that's what you would do to pump your ice machine cleaner through it. So the Scotsman idea, but the Bremer doesn't have that. The Bremer machine, you have to run it through there. It'll make ice anyway. But this is a Scotsman concept where you would turn the compressor off and just run the water pump to clean it. This is an ACC compressor made in Italy. So this is all being checked, the pressures are good, this is all within spec. It's just, yeah, it's funny how the timer doesn't actually get triggered when it's supposed to. Even though I've replaced this suspect component. Very strange. Might have to play around with how it's run on the evaporator or something. It's particularly sensitive, because it shouldn't be that complicated for this machine. All this 2 thermostats and a timer. Same matter of charge as a Scotsman over there uses. This looks like it's the same equivalent wattage, amperage and charge of gas than that machine over there is. This is its cousin. As I said, it's just Scotsman Mag Bremer mix. But there's nothing much bloody could be why it's not making, well, it's not triggering the thermostat, because I've tried all the adjustments on that thermostat. It's just shouldn't be so complicated. As I said, it's got to build up ice. It gets just cold enough and it senses and starts the timer to dump the ice when it's finished. But what it's actually doing is it's not turning the timer on when it's cold enough, and it just sits there until all the water in here freezes and it cavitates the pump dry. Bit of a strange one. Like I said, I've bought this component here online. It's the exact like for like. Visually looked at the picture online when I bought this replacement thermostat against the old one, and the numbers are all the same. At the end of it, sensing bob, everything was the same every way possible. Anyway, I'll take care of this later. Anyway, thanks for watching.